Every Sunday, in fact, most days, I scour the newspapers to see what's going on. And today, there's quite a lot of stuff about the Archbishop of Canterbury. He's given an interview. He's emerged into the public eye, not to clarify the Church's legacy of safeguarding failure, but seemingly to prolong its haze. In his latest interviews, particularly one with Laura Kunsberg, which will come out later this morning, Welby apparently performs a sort of rite of dignified regret without meaningful accountability. The former Archbishop concedes, as he has done before, that he got it wrong in handling allegations of abuse, especially those concerning John Smythe, this barrister and the serial abuser responsible for the torment of over 130 boys and young men. Smythe operated under the Church's aegis for decades, unprosecuted, unchallenged, largely unmentioned, until it was too late. And Welby admits to knowing Smythe, to having received reports as early as 2013, the very year he took office. And yet the interview is suffused with the word overwhelming. One might think that he'd been swallowed whole by a tidal wave of paperwork. Another case, he murmurs, as though Smythe were one file mislaid in a very busy drawer. Overwhelming becomes a sort of clerical code for inaction. But the trouble is not that Welby sounds overwhelmed. It's that he doesn't say much else. He talks at length and with feeling, but what emerges is a sermon not on weariness, not on justice. And this is a man, of course, who enjoys talking. He's fluent in the language of moral fog. And when presented on why he didn't act sooner, why Smythe wasn't reported to the police 5 years before his death, Welby offers not clarity but pathos. He was busy. His diary secretary he quipped in the House of Lords suffered most of all. That attempt at humour in his final speech before resignation earned laughter but also outrage. One victim called the tone appallingly, and Welby later issued another apology, adding to the growing anthology of sorrowful addenda. But apologies, like sermons, must eventually meet action, and here's the crux. Despite Welby's admission of failure, there's no structural reckoning, and the Church's safeguarding still appears chaotic and under-resourced. The victim advocate, Andrew Grayson, remarked this week that the church remains overwhelmed. It's not just the Archbishop who's buckled, it's the institution, and it continues to buckle. William's tendency to couch everything in emotional abstraction makes for oddly numbing television. He can sound deeply moved, and yet the viewer is entirely unmoved. He speaks of pain without friction, failure without consequences, pain without compassion. There's something curiously safe about this style of vulnerability. So much is admitted and nothing is interrogated. Indeed, to say there are no excuses and then proceed to list all the reasons one failed to act, it's overwhelming. Priority class clashes, systems breakdown. It is to enter the realm of spiritual spin. It's a kind of ecclesiastical PR where confession is made not for accountability but for aura. Justin Welby didn't resign out of a spontaneous moral epiphany. He resigned only when pressure made his position untenable. It wasn't a voluntary humility, but an institutional necessity. And his resignation, while notable, doesn't signal genuine reform. So, is there anything to learn from these, from this interview, from the manifold reports slapped across the Sunday newspapers, that a man can say, "I got it wrong" repeatedly without really explaining why or what? And that sorrow, when rehearsed too often, becomes pointless. And the Church of England, still reeling from its past, continues to send out bishops to say sorry with extraordinary solemnity, and very little else. Sorry is just a word, isn't it, really? And I'm sorry about that, because I think it's a very good word. Maybe we overuse it in the English language. I know I do.